Yeah, what's up, everyone? I'm so sorry. Hi, good morning. Can you hear me now? Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so just tell your friends, tell people that we are live. Let's get more people in so that we can get started with today's episode. Do well to fill the form if you have questions. Do well to fill the form if you have questions. Do well to fill the form if you have questions. Yes, good morning. Let's get more people in. So do well to fill the form if you have questions. I'll be answering questions from there. All right, so welcome to week 5. And this week, you'll be focusing on user research 2 and 3, covering empathy map, user personas, user story, user flow, user journey map. Very interesting. I believe you guys have seen the tags, and I know that they've been like very interesting. So if you have questions, start filling the form. I'm going to be picking questions from there. If you can someone reshare the form on Slack, just share the form on Slack, like so that people can fill the form for questions. Please, can someone share the form on Slack? Nobody has done that. I'm trying to find the form also. You guys have shared too many forms on Slack for your result research. I can't even find the form for the work itself. Okay. Please share the form on Slack if you can find it. All right, so let me go on and start answering questions. I believe you can hear me clearly. Okay, so someone is asking, is it a must to work with the template provided on the portal, or we can use any templates? All right, so the template we provided for you is to help you, right? So that you won't have to, the template is basically to help you so that you won't have to do so many guesswork, right? But then I think it's also not bad if you have your own templates, or if you have a template that you can make use of, right? It's still okay if you have a template you can make use of. But then the template that was originally there was basically to help your, so it's totally fine if you have a template that you want to use, but then if you can use the one that was provided also, that's also totally fine. All right. Okay, so that's on that. Okay, so someone is asking, please, how can I insert pictures from plugins into my feature page? Okay. Come in. Okay, so for feature, basically just have templates, right? You really don't have, so if you want to put images, what you have to do is you have to download those images and then you insert those images, right? So that's really what you have to do. The plugins don't work here like they do for Figma. So you have to download the image and attach the image. Comment, for example, this is an image, comment. So you can see how this is an image that I downloaded and I'm attaching the image right to feature. So this is how you can attach the image. You just have to drag the image in or you copy and paste. All right. So you can't use the plugin to add images on feature, at least for now. All right. So I said if you have questions, just use the form to drop your question, right? All right. Okay, so someone else is asking, does the empathy map contain pain points? I'm confused about its features. Okay, so the empathy map, you're talking about the empathy map template that was provided, right? So the empathy map is supposed to help you map out those pain points in the correct let me show the template so that I get it. Just give me a minute. All right. Okay, so yeah, I'm coming. Yeah. All right. I'm trying to open up the template. Okay, so let me open it. Okay, desktop. All right, let me just share my screen so I get it. All right. So I believe you can see my screen here. So yes, this is the empathy map template, right? This is supposed to help you create notes, right? All the participants that you talk to, we told you to interview 5 participants. So this is just for you to take note of all the things that they said, right? Now, this is the empathy map. The empathy map actually contains what was said from each of the participants that you have interviewed, right? So now, just like it was explained in the video, the person asking that question, obviously I've not watched the video, right? Because if you've watched the video, you will understand what empathy map is supposed to do for the things you got from the participants that you interviewed, right? So they're talking about what they're thinking, what they say, what they feel, and what they do, right? I'm not going to be explaining again, but clearly what it's supposed to do is from all the things that each of the participants had said, what are some of the things that is what they think, right? Sometimes when someone is giving a statement or is giving a sentence, basically, sometimes you can perceive that they are thinking, it's just something they think or is happening, right? Or in the direct sense, what you can imagine that they are thinking based on what they say, right? So that's what stays here. What stays here is what they have actually said with their mouth. Okay, let's give an example. Say we're trying to, okay, I used the example last week. I'm talking about a food delivery service or company, for example, that is just starting out and they are doing a research, for example. So if you're talking about what they say, it's clearly maybe a remote worker saying that whenever he orders for food, it's always very difficult for the food to get, or it takes a long time for the food to get to him. That's clearly what they say, right? Now, what they think, for example, clearly is there's in that statement or in that situation, basically that it's just what they say. There's nothing that they're thinking about. But an example of what they think, is let me think of something. So let's say just looking at the example of a food delivery service, so maybe what they're thinking is, it's supposed to happen very fast, right? I mean, I order and I get it in 10 minutes, I order and I get it in 5 minutes, like that's a perception. For someone to say it takes too long time, and too long time to some persons could be 30 minutes, you order and you're getting it in 30 minutes. But then he in his mind is thinking that this stuff should just take, like, I order and get me my food in 5-10 minutes, right? That's one. Another is what they feel, right? What they are feeling is hunger, basically, right? So they're actually feeling famished, for example, and then they're expecting that the delivery will take very quick time, right? So what do they do? So the fourth part is classifying what they do. If someone else says, oh, what I do is I decide to get a local chef that would come or that would cook, or that resides in my street and can get me the food faster, or what is it basically that they do to fix that issue, basically. So that's what the empathy map is supposed to help you do. It's meant to help you separate everything that your participants of your interview, right? Or everything they say, everything they think, everything they do, everything you got from them, right? Helps you separate all of them, right? Now, coming to pain points. So that's empathy. Coming to pain points. Pain point is clearly identifying amongst all the things they say, which ones were real pains to them. An example is the food takes too long time, it takes more than 30 minutes, it takes 1 hour. I'm just using that as an example. What you're working on is different, right? So the pain points are basically all the things that are pains to your participants, basically. And what your user persona? User persona is more like a fictional character of the ideal person that is facing the challenge you're trying to solve, right? So that's what user persona is about. Your idea prioritization matrix is basically what are the solutions that, and I think something is supposed to come up before you. All right, there's even an interesting sample here, right? Oh, okay, yes, there's an interesting sample here, right? So this is, yes. So before idea prioritization matrix, that's what I'm saying, there's brainstorming, right? Where you come up with different kinds of ideas, different sets of ideas, as you can see here. Then when you come up with all these ideas, group them as they relate to each other. Then you come to idea prioritization matrix, where you now separate each of them, right? What they do, what you are going to do later, what you can do now. Like look at the prioritization indicators, right? Which ones are low effort, high effort, low impact and high impact. This category is for low effort and high impact. So it makes sense to address what is going to take less effort to build up, and then would have the highest impact on the product. The ones you do next are the ones that may take high effort but then have high impact. The one with low effort and then low impact, you can do it third, and then the one with low impact and you take high effort, don't even try doing them at all, right? So that's what idea prioritization matrix is about. And then you have your features list, as we said. So amongst all of these things, right, your features list is going to mostly come from what you have in the do now, low effort and high impact, right? So that's 5 features that you're going to address and solve with, almost immediately. So yeah, that's really all about user research too. So yes, that's it. Okay, so let me go back to Figma. I was trying to open this in Figma. I don't know. It's not letting me. All right. All right, so that's that. I hope you guys were I hope you got my explanation. So let me check the next question. I hope you guys. Okay, so the next question says, does the empathy map contain pain points? I'm confused about its features. Okay, the empathy map, yes, the empathy map contains pain points, but pain points are not your focus when doing empathy map, right? When you're doing the empathy map, you're basically just mapping out all what your participant of your interviews, like all what they said. You're just separating them into categories of what they actually said, what they feel, or what you got from your user. Sometimes someone is talking, it's not just a recording what they say, right? As I see, lots of you are doing just Google Forms for your research. You're just not going to get something solid, right? Because people would just presume and would not say stuff really solid. The task basically was for you to interview them, and that's why we limited it to 5. So it was supposed to be a call, or it was supposed to be a WhatsApp chat or something, just like a chat, not for you to push out Google Forms and collecting tens, hundreds of results, basically, right? So yes, they will contain pain points, but the focus at that point is not pain points. Okay, so that's answers to that question. Okay, so there's another one that says, I have no clue on what to write in the doors part of my empathy map. I didn't do a video interview. Yeah, that's really the problem, right? It's not even about the video interview, right? You didn't personally chat with the interviewers or the interviewees or those that are your participants. You just kept out Google Form and you expected them to fill it, right? So yes, that's the reason why you don't have anything to write there. Is how to go about with 5 tasks. It's clear that you have not watched the video. I think that's the reason why you're confused on how to go about the tasks. Well, I've explained already. So I hope you were here and you got that. All right. So it's a short example of everything we had submitted for research 2 and 3. I already showed you have a template there. Those templates, all you just need to do is edit it to fit your own, right? Yes, for research 2 and research 3. So yes, those are the things you're supposed to submit. A fake jam link. Okay. All right, so there's another question. How do you draw empathy maps from quantitative and age surveys where you can't observe exactly my point, right? So you guys went ahead and kept out Google Forms when we said just interview like 5 persons, right? So I wonder how you were going to be sure it was 5 people who went ahead to do Google Forms. Anyways, you just have to find a way. You can sit up and interview people though. But yes, so that's it. So let me say, how do we put in the thing said? All right. Is this the same thing I've been explaining, right? I've explained that already, how you know what they think, what they say, what they do, what they feel. The form actually has a sample on that, right? The empathy map says on the template for user research to resources, right? You see, what they say, planning trips would be much more easier. We could book a dog walker. You know, something I love my dog. We definitely need help walking, Ricky and Snowball. We can't always take our pets with us. You know, things is planning trips are much easier if they could book a dog walker, needs a consistent dog walker. So I feel like you can come up with what they think. You can just imagine, right? Then they are feeling exhausted, anxious, fear, worried. You can presume and come up with what they think, right? So now let me give you a tip, right? For this, your empathy map. Okay, for dogs, it says work as a teacher. I could schedule a dog sitting days in advance. Can't spend my money on a doggy daycare. Blah 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 blah. So there's quite lots of things. So this is what does an aggregated empathy map looks like. I just showed you what an empathy map looks like. So yeah, that's it. Someone is saying, I don't understand the week 5 tasks. Can they show you walkthrough? I already did for user research too. I mean, I know it's very clear that you guys have not gone through the video, and that's the reason why you're confused. Yes, come in. All right, so that's that. Okay, so let's do the next question. So I showed you a walkthrough already of the tasks. So this can we edit the template from just and fill in our user persona? Can you edit it? You don't have edit access, so you can't edit it. You can only duplicate it, right? So just duplicate it and do your stuff, right? All right, so that's that. You don't have edit permissions for them. All right, so I need clarification on the 5 tasks. That's not a question. I wonder what clarification means. Are we just to submit a free jam link containing everything or 2 different links? Empathy map separate a person? No. You're submitting it, the same link, please. Yes. Submitting the same link, right? This is to avoid losing marks. To avoid losing marks. The task asks us to create a user password. Means just one, right? Now you can create as many, advise 2, right? Advise 2 user personas. I advise. It's not what the task is like, I advise, right? So it's coming up with 5 main design features. Is it just the idea prioritization part, or is it different from that? It is from the idea prioritization, the ones that are in the category of do now, meaning that they have high impact and low effort to actualize, then those are the ones that you should bring out 5 major ones from, basically, right? If you have questions, make sure to use the form to submit your questions. I'm not picking questions from YouTube, at least not now. And if the time goes out before I get to YouTube, then I'm not going to be getting any questions from YouTube at all. So if you want to have a better chance of your questions being answered, do well to submit it on the form. All right. Someone is asking again, how can I clip a downloaded image on a shape on FigJam? How are you guys stressing yourself? I'm confused. You want to clip a downloaded image on FigJam. I don't know why you want to do that. I mean, that's something you can do in Figma. Just do it in Figma and bring it to FigJam. Yeah. All right. Now says, can we conduct the research using Google Forms? Wow. This is a last week task and you're just asking. I advise not to, but if you have done that, that's fine. Just make use of it. But I advise not to. Just talk with people. Talk with people. So it says, what kind of goals are to be written in the user persona? Assume the goals of the person you're creating a persona for. Just assume the goals. What are things you feel like are goals for this person, or what are the goals that this person might basically want to achieve, right? So yes, that's what it is about. Okay. Are we to create multiple empathy map for each user? You can do that. It makes it very much more easy, right? But then just create it together so that your work can be in one place, right? So just create everything together. Just put for first person, do everything for one person, do everything for the next person, do everything for the next person, and then for the fifth person. And that's so. Someone says, do we fill all those boxes on the user itself? So I don't know what you mean by fill all those boxes, but then you're supposed to attempt the task, right? So check the pre-filled sample and see how it is. Then that's how you're supposed to be. Are we to create multiple empathy maps for 5 users? Yeah, you can create one. You can just use one, but then make sure you address them one after the other. Can you shed more light on the user flow? What is more light on the user flow? User flow. I'm coming. I'm trying to check. I'm coming. So, for example, user flow and user story, right? So for user flow, I'm coming. Let me share my screen. A minute. Give me a minute, please. Okay. All right, I'm sharing my screen now, so you guys get me and follow through. Okay, yes. Wait, what? It's the same flow chart and copy. Ah, shit. Permit me, please. All right. Yeah, all right. So for user flows, right? Basically what user flows are supposed to do. I'm coming. Yes. Oh. Okay, so yes, this is the user flow template, right? So as you can see, this is a sample of what each of these shapes mean, right? We have the start, decision, group, input, process, data, and then the end, right? So user flows are, so say for example, a mobile app, right? Mobile app, then login. Login is a decision, right? So if they've logged in, then you show me their feed. If no, then show them the login page. If you show them the media feed, they want to post an update. If yes, then open the post modal, add photos, text, and submit, right? Then send it to the database. So basically what the user flow is just showing you the flow for a product, right? For whatever you're working on, like what you guys are going to be working on, like just mapping out the flow. What happens when they open the app? Use an app, use a web, when they open the URL, they are logging in. What are they doing when they log in? So showing all of those flows and interactions really is what you are supposed to show for flow, user flows, right? Now, user stories, for example. So user stories are just very clear, right? See example here, right? User story sheet. As a user, as a type of user, I want to blah, 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 right? So that will see the type of user describe who you are designing for. A sample, right? So let's say as a remote worker, use that I want to order for food so that I can get it fast, or I want to order for food, so that I can eat, obviously, but then I want to order for food quickly. I want to order for food and get it quickly, or I want to order for food and then I want to get it quickly. You get so. That's basically what your user stories are for. Like they're just defining what exactly are the intentions of your users, right? Like what are basically the intentions, something that's supposed to happen with your user going through your app or making use of your platform or whatever it is, right? The type of the user, the description of the user you're designing for, the action that they are going to do, and then the benefits, what they are going to gain after doing that, right? So that's what you're supposed to just use the template for. You're supposed to duplicate this template as much as possible for all the user stories that you have, right? So that's that on user stories and flowcharts. Okay, so let's all right, so that's that. I've mentioned time is now number that I can't answer your questions on YouTube. I've mentioned time is now number I can't. Every question you're asking on YouTube, you are just asking yourselves, right? Like you're asking fellow learners to answer for you. You're not asking me, right? So any question you're dropping on YouTube, you're dropping for yourself. If you want to answer your question, you go and fill the form because that's where I'm answering questions from, right? Because someone is saying, I watched the videos multiple times. I don't understand. Like, why don't you understand? I've showed the examples already, which you wanted right here. What do we write in the low value, high effort? I don't know what you should write. What you should write is what has low value. I mean, like what is not really, what is it that is part of the, what's it called now? That's your idea prioritization matrix, right? So that's from your brainstorming, the ideas you come up with. What is it that really would require so much effort to do, but then the value on your users or for your users is very little. So that's what they're supposed to write there. Okay, so someone's asking, please, concerning the user flow, is it possible to have process leading to two other processes? Yes, sure. It's possible, right? So your user flow can be anyhow. Just make sure it works for your users, right? So, but then hope you're not giving your users multiple options to multiple processes like at the same point. Just like I'm telling, it should be alternative, right? Say, for example, if you come into the app, is that you're signing up or you're logging in, right? Or you're doing forgot password, or you get, so those are like instances that override each other. So you can't do two actions at the same time that are compulsory. You get, so you make sure to check for that. I'm only saying how many user personas are we to write. I advise two, but then do what you want, right? I will create multiple user personas, same question. My advice too. All right. Okay, so nobody else. I think that's all the questions we have. Yes, the flowchart template is in the post, right? About the 5 tags is in the post. So yes. Okay, so that's really all the questions, right? Okay, so anybody has questions, drop your questions in the form, so I can answer them. If you've asked your question on Zoom, there's no way I can answer them, right? So drop your questions in the form, please. Or just assume like you guys are okay with the tags and you can go ahead and fix it. Samuel, like I said, the question is from the form. Game TV, you cannot edit your landing page. Once we check the version history and see that you edited your work before the deadline, I'm sorry, after the deadline, then you're going to lose marks, right? So the deadline is the deadline. If you edit your work after submitting, then you're definitely going to lose marks. Like, I'm assuring you very, very well. We will see Momo, you are giving him a very wrong advice. And if you have done that, then you both face the issue. The form is on Slack. Tom says, do we have the whole 5? I'm trying to understand this question. Your participant on template. I don't even understand the question. Do we have the whole? If you ask your question just now and you know what you started with is, do we have with the whole 5 participants? Please, can you just ask your question again? Like I don't seem to understand the question. I'm not sure what was constructed. So only the questions we have to ask in order to generate a party map, are they based on the last week 4 tags that we did, or we are going to ask? No, it's week 4 tags is the same product you're working on. Yes. What goals are we writing on user persona? You just have to assume the goals of your users. What is it that they want to achieve based on your product? Yeah. Okay, so do we have to fill the 5 participants on the template? Oh, yes, you have to. Yes. Yes, you have to. Someone is asking a question and he just kept empathy mapping and prioritization. How am I supposed to understand what you're asking? You guys are getting me all wrong, right? You're getting me all wrong. If we give a submission deadline, right, it's expected that you have completed the work before that deadline. So if you go ahead and submit and then you edit after the deadline, then yes, definitely you're going to, that's the work. I mean, what's the point of giving you a deadline if you're going to edit your work after the deadline, right? What's the point? But then just go ahead and do what you think is right? I mean, we'll grade and we'll give you reasons why. Please, if you ask the question, empathy mapping and prioritization, just kindly ask the question again. What's the question you're asking? Someone says, for user stories, are we expected to duplicate templates to as many user personas as we have? We're required to probably just one user story. Duplicate the template to as many user personas that you have. User personas, yes, as many user personas that you have. Yeah. Okay, someone is asking, I really don't know how to go about my priority matrix. Please help with the guide, right? Okay, prioritization matrix. I already explained that, but I'll do so again. Give me a minute. All right, so yeah. Okay, so this is idea prioritization matrix, for example. So like I said, prioritization matrix really starts from here. Yeah, I just copy this thing. All right, so it starts from brainstorming, right? Start from brainstorming. After you do all of this, your empathy map, user personas. So brainstorming is where you come up with ideas to the solutions to the problems that you have discovered and you want to fix, right? And then you come to idea prioritization matrix, right? So what you do here is that you begin to pick from all of this, your ideas that you have come up with, and then you begin to set them into this, right? The one that will require very minimal effort, but then will have high impact on the product. Do you get, say for example, minimal effort. So let's say getting, I don't know, I'm trying to use my food delivery example that I've been using. I mean, how can people get their food in 5 minutes? Okay, let's say striking partnerships with local restaurants, right? Not just all these big names, right? So striking a partnership with local restaurants and then helping people get their food from the nearest restaurant possible, like would reduce the time that the food gets to each person, right? That would be very easy to do. First off, it is not difficult to strike a partnership with a local restaurant because you're helping them make more sales, which is the most important thing for a local restaurant, right? At least at that their stage. So it's very easy to strike that kind of partnership. You take very low effort and then the impact is going very high. As opposed to, let's say, build your own restaurant, right? Or build a remote restaurant store, whatever. Now, building a restaurant store or building a restaurant or starting a restaurant in your most, let's say in locations where you get your most order and then will be more expensive to do, although it will have high impact on your product, right? So that is the kind of thing you put in doing next, right? So, but then striking partnership would be less effort, but then will have high impact. You put that kind of thing in. So let's give a very difficult example. Let's say maybe delivering food with drones. Are drones faster than bikes? Maybe traffic and all those stuff. Let's say delivering food with drones or delivering food with jets, right? Or with helicopters, for example. That would be very weird, right? Because I mean, you would just want to put that on that. Yes, the impact may be high, right? Yes, high impact, but then the effort is very high, right? For example, let me look for something. I mean, obviously I'm just giving random examples, right? But then you get the point of prioritization matrix. It's just to help you categorize your ideas into where they fit. The ones you can do immediately right now that would require less effort. The one that's going to have high impacts, but then high effort. The one that is not going to have any impact at all, and the effort is also low. And then the one that is going to have low impact, but then the effort is high. So that's the point of prioritization matrix. I hope I answered that question well. Okay. Right. So what are we facing next? And then other questions. Okay, so let's say, take for instance, on part 1, we have boxes with different colors. What is expected to be in each of those boxes? Now, in each of those boxes, right, what is expected to be there is the things that your participants said. What participants one said from all the questions you asked them, all the things they said, that's what's meant to be those boxes, right? So once the user flow, is it for the library website? No, at all. It's not for the library website. It's for your own work. I mean, the product work you've been working on, the one you did the research about. That's what it's for, all right? Imran is saying we actually created an empathy map, not an individual empathy map. Yeah, exactly what I've been saying. I didn't say you should do individual empathy map, right? I was talking about user stories. than that for your user persona. For your empathy map, yes, I said you should do everything together. I said it's fine, you can actually do it individually, but then it's best that you do it together, right? I mean, bring everything from what all your participants have said, and then the only thing I said is you should do it one after the other. Let me give an example now. Say, let me share my screen. Okay, so let me see, try an example, right? So yes, participant A said all of these things, right? Everything here is what participant A said. Now you go through participant A, from everything participant A said, identify the ones that he thinks, right? Identify the ones he said, put them here. Identify the ones he does, and then identify how he feels. Now go to participant B. Identify what he thinks, identify what he says, identify what he does, and identify how he feels, right? Go to participant C. Identify what he says, he thinks, identify what he says, identify what he does, and identify how he thinks, or how he feels rather, right? So you go for participant D1. That's what I mean by the individual, right? So that's what I mean by the individual, not that you should do separate empathy maps, right? So I hope you get me. Whoever was trying to point my attention to that, and to everybody, other person that misunderstood me. Yes. Imran, I think you're getting me totally wrong, right? I hope that you basically now understand what I mean by addressing the empathy maps individually. I'm not saying you should do empathy maps, you should do it separated, right? Or do empathy maps for each of the participants. That's not what I'm saying, right? What I'm basically saying is that you go through the empathy. I'm only showing you how you should approach the empathy map, right? It's not that you go through all the participants and do everything that they feel, everything each of them thinks, everything each of them says, or everything each of them does, right? What I'm saying is you should pick them one after the other and then start fixing them on each of the category. I hope you get that clear. All right. Okay, so I think my time is up. Thanks so much for joining, everyone. If you have other questions, do have to drop them on the forum and they'll be answered in the next office hour. All right.